appreciate you, joining and being part of this. So apologize if if it's a little awkward. I don't have any editing. I'm just gonna straight out go for it. But today's a very special occasion. The reason why I'm doing this today is because it's the third year anniversary of YRV Dynamics. Actually, it's 3 years in one day. It was actually yesterday, but I wanted to do something special where I kind of just do a live stream and just want to talk real quick about what my journey has been from inception to all the way to now. Now, I've been in the ad agency business for roughly, man, probably since 2000 or 1999. I got into it when I was 24 years old and been into it ever since. I graduated college around um, when I was 23 or 22, somewhere around there. And then I taught for a little bit. My mom was a teacher, my uncle was a teacher. Teaching runs in my blood. Um, I totally don't have the patience for it. God bless all the teachers in this world. But unfortunately, I just don't have the patience and I have a temper and I just, no, thank you. I just don't have the patience. And God bless all the teachers because it's an amazing job. I had fun with it. It just wasn't for me. I just couldn't see myself doing it. But I definitely had offers to stay and work with kids. But it was a fun journey. But I knew I wanted to do something entrepreneurial, something corporate, and I got into media buying. Now, why am I telling you my journey? Because I really want to this channel to deliver content that's, yes, it is a Google Ads channel. Yes, it is a Meta Blueprint. It has Meta Blueprint training videos, but I really want to show like the other aspect, right? Which is growing your business, right? Almost everybody that comes to this channel is a freelancer, a contractor, or somebody entrepreneurial mindset that's running a business and just wants to get a leg up and just wants to get better at ads. So what I want to do is just describe my journey from when I started doing ads to or started in the business all the way to now. And maybe this could be almost like a something where we can do this on a regular basis. I don't know, but the first thing I want to say is, I was on, I worked someplace where I did actually newspaper for a bit, and then we did TV, and I was in TV for a while. Then I got into digital, and then eventually in mid 2010s, 2015, I landed at a place that specialized in social media paid um, social media paid ads as well as Google ads. And luckily, they worked on films, which I love films. Anybody out there who knows me knows I'm very much into films. And so uh, was there for about, God, 6 or 7 years, made some great, very good friends, made some very good enemies. Agency politics. I'm sure anybody who's watched this video knows me, knows what I'm talking about. But I had a good time. And so from there, um, unfortunately, we that place was one of the first places that got was the first to get the tech layoffs, right? And they were the first to go under post COVID. But I learned a lot, and I learned Google Ads, and I learned paid social ads, and I knew I wanted to do something in relations to that. And I had actually several opportunities to go other places, but I said, you know what? Let's go ahead and start, my own gig. And it was me and a VA named Rena, and she and I worked together. She was overseas. She was in the Philippines, and I worked with her at that other place. It was called Oprum. I'm not sure. I'm sure we have some Oprum alum who are, who are watching the channel. And luckily, I made that connection. I knew she was extremely bright and smart, and we partnered together and we worked on clients. We had one client at the time. They eventually left. They were a film client. That really hurt. And all I had was a my severance, the last of the money from that. And luckily, I had another movie client that jumped on board at the very end. A very good friend of mine, and he's still with us to this day, which is great. And that's how I founded YRV Dynamics. And eventually, Rena, who's the VA, is now a founder, and we split the business. And she's overseas, so she's extremely bright. And I couldn't have done this without her. I mean, she really, her and her boyfriend, who's also the V, his name is Vaughn. So there's Yousaf, Rena, and Vaughn. All three of us make YRV, and we're YRV Dynamics. And it's been an amazing journey. Some highs and some lows. But one thing I want to talk about real quick as I celebrate personally this 3 year journey is describing what each year was kind of like. And I kind of depict it as a version of True Detective or American Horror Story. And I don't mean it like in a funny, like horror story way, but if those two shows are anything, they're almost like every season is something different, right? And my first year starting this business versus my second or my third year were completely different. My first year was was just, man, I was just learning to I need to get my LLC going. I need to get the processes going. I was pitching crap clients, and I was on Fiverr, pitching clients, and it was really hard, man. And then eventually, the second year, that's when we started getting more clients, and some actually like some very strong clients that actually were like they were digital managers. They actually ran a Fortune 1000 business, et cetera. There was actually some of those that came in, and I was very happy for that. um, from there, we grew, and we actually grew out our white labeling business. On top of that, we grew out our direct client business. And then we actually still kept our film business, which is amazing. And so we've been very blessed. But I really credit it to everything that Rena and Vaughn partnering with them, and they're founders. They're not like employees, and I really want to make that clear. And the other thing I want to talk about is how we grew. Now we have 7 employees, six are full time employees, and they look to me and to them to make sure, hey, the babies are fed. We have money coming in and stuff. So it's an inspiring battle. I never thought. One thing I really want to make clear is a few things. I never thought in a million years I'd start my own business. And I think most people who know me knew I was a good corporate soldier. They knew I was somebody who was, a good soldier in terms of working a lot of hours, making sure the business, was doing great, making sure the founders of the company knew who I was and knew I was working hard. Towards the end, when basically that place went insolvent, and there was everybody went their own way, everybody got laid off, even the founders. I made sure that I wanted to start something new. I didn't want to put my hands into someone else. I really wanted to start a business and see what I could do in terms of doing something different, and just being in all these different scenarios. Like I said, I was in the agency business since 2000 almost. So I've seen it all, man. I've seen it from the craziest things all the way to winning something called 4As. I actually won 4As in Los Angeles, which is a big competition. And that's what made me stay in the business instead of leaving. Because there were some times I really was sick of it, but I stayed. And that being said, I took, a lot of businesses that even when I was at Opera or even other places, towards the end, I started taking a lot of notes. How was the business ran? How did they interview? What was their quote unquote secret sauce? How did they train personnel? All sorts of stuff. And I borrowed that and adapted it to me. So for a lot of you, it's working your corporate gig, and I still technically work a corporate gig. There's several agencies I still work with to this day, but at the end of the day, it's contracted through me, and the buys, I am responsible for their buys, but at the end of the day, it's their clients. So it's kind of a good thing, because a lot of times I don't talk to the client. But I do want to say, it's been an amazing journey, and it's been roughly 3 years. And it's been so cool. I mean, I will say a couple other things. I get this question a lot, is how was your first year? And I cannot say this enough. The first year was extremely hard. There were so many times I almost quit. There were so many times I cried myself to sleep. And I really mean that, just getting defeated. At the time I was living with a girlfriend and she got laid off. So we were both laid off. And I was starting a business. And so that was nuts. That was crazy. And I was responsible for bringing in all the paying the rent and making sure we all had, Cobra insurance. And I had to pay for that. And anybody who knows what Cobra is, dude, that is very expensive insurance. And I made it work. And yeah, it was very trippy. Um, how did this channel start? Well, so like I said, you know, um, each year that I've been in business has been a completely different thing. The the first year, the first year was when we were like kind of like Batman Begins, right? Like we're kind of just trying to figure out how to get clients in here, getting our pitching formula going, relying on referrals, and whatnot. The second year was a lot different. It was we knew we were getting clients, like we would just organically get them. But one thing we did was, of course, this YouTube channel. We started this, or I started this, and at first it was just to do videos, and it was just to just get Google Ads. This was probably one of the smartest things I ever did because I do get business from this channel. Then I do have an audio podcast, so I'm not sure if a lot of you know about that, but there is a audio podcast I do where I basically chat about the raw business of the day. The audio podcast is more or less like what goes on, like if I have a tough time with a client, or if I have a tough time pitching, or if something weird goes down, or even how to file taxes. I give all that on my podcast channel. The podcast channel is roughly 110 episodes, almost 120 episodes. This YouTube channel that you're watching right now is roughly 120. No, it's 299 videos. This will be the three. That's another weird thing. This will be the 300th video that I do on this channel, which is crazy. So that's again, just it's so weird that it's meant to be like this. That's why I did it. I was like, shit, this is going to be like the 300th video. So um, I definitely want to say, as each year went on, it was completely different. This was like almost a second and a half year, and then it went into where I started this stuff, where I started the organic, my organic outreach, which is the YouTube channel and the podcast and the Medium articles. On top of that, I have a WhatsApp group that I founded. That's 160 channel, 160 people. 100, yeah, it's about 157 people that are all in there asking questions, etc. So that's really cool. So all three of those work as a ecosystem to churn and get clients. Now I know what you're saying. Like, why did you do all that? Why did you build like a YouTube channel? Like I can kind of see that. Why did you build a podcast, and then why would you do a WhatsApp and then a Medium? That's another thing too. I have a Medium channel as well, like where I do blogging, and that's all related to my WhatsApp group or to this business, the YRV Dynamics. And the reason why I did that was to grow my footprint and to grow my community. Because remember, my friends, if you grow your community, you will grow your business, you will grow your clients. You want to be a leader in this business, whether it's you SEO, whether you do website design, whether you buy ads, whether you do search, whether you do paid social or whatever, a little bit of both. Or shit, if you're a plumber, you want to be seen as a leader in that group. You want to be seen as somebody who's a leader amongst the community of those of your competitors, right? Because you have all these competitors. And that's one thing I always heard too. Hey man, you're helping your competitors. Why would you help out your competitors? You help out your competitors because you want I actually give them referral business. That's the first thing. The second thing I do is that I want to be seen as a leader amongst my competitors. I want people to know that I actually have a WhatsApp group or I have a YouTube channel with 600 or 560 people that are constantly looking to me for leadership, that are looking to me to learn how to buy. Same thing with the WhatsApp group, same thing with the Medium group, and same thing with a podcast. So that they're constantly people are are seeing me as a person who's leading the category, and that's the whole point of this, and that's what the whole point of this thing is here. Although right now I'm just kind of ad-libbing because it's my third year, but I think probably this may be something I'll do on a regular basis. um, as far as the group, or in terms of my company, how I grew it, you know it was really sticking through the hard times. And there were a lot of hard times. There were a lot of times where it was so tough, man. Where I didn't think we were going to make it, and we made it through. And it there's it's almost like the best way to describe it is there's you feel like there's like these pits. And I forget, there was a book that I actually read on, or I followed up on. Michelle Kuo mentions it as well, where these dips that happen in your life or in your business or in anything you do, where they're very dark, right? You go down, and you have to believe in yourself to go back up. And that's when you're just like, you're slugging, you're spending nights, you're pitching business, you're making VSLs, video sales letters to clients, and you're doing that every single day. I remember I used to do so many VSLs on Fiverr and Upwork. I mean, we're talking like 3 to 4 a day, 5 a day, 6 a day, and I was blowing through connects, or the way you submit these things, and it was so hard. I was doing those every single day when I was pitching business. Now it's the other way around. Now when I'm on Fiverr, like, people are coming to me looking for advice, or when I'm on Upwork, they're coming to me looking to work with me. And then of course they Google me and they find this amazing YouTube channel, or they find my podcast, or they find my WhatsApp groups, right? So, like I said, the digital footprint itself is tremendously helpful to get you organic business. But going back to my business, um, it I would highly, if I had to start this over again, a few things. I would say get blueprint certified, like I always say. I've said that thousands of times on this channel. The next thing is make sure you have a side hustle, right? And it's great to be a corporate soldier, a good corporate soldier, and to really stand up for your business and work hard for your business. But at the end of the day, there are just too many layoffs, and you really want to be ready in case something happens. And that's what the purposes of YRV was, to make sure that even though I white label and I work with different people, there's this, my business is always here. And as you start your business, or if you're an entrepreneur, or if you're doing this as a side hustle, trying to break into it, and how do I get clients, how do I put myself out there, it's really all about making sure that you're an expert, right? And that, because remember, only experts charge expert rates. And you really want to make sure that you're not an amateur, right? And especially as a freelancer, the more of an expert you are, the more you're able to solve and diagnose problems, the more confidence you have when you're looking at Google Ads, giving those audits, giving those recommendations, going through those countless times of meetings with clients. You really get pushed through in terms of self-confidence. I've seen that with my team, and it's really all about practice, but it's really about being an expert and knowing what to do. If you are not an expert, I don't recommend doing this. I really don't. I actually recommend that you get mentored. Now, does that mean how long will you be mentored? I don't know. It depends how much of an amateur you are, right? But if you're an expert, right, and that's how you get successful. If you're an expert, you will do fine. I promise you. There's room for top talent in this vertical, for paid social and for paid search. There's tons of room here, but only if you're an expert. If you are not an expert, there's no room, because there's tons of people who are amateurs trying to get in here. That's the biggest problem with this category, is that there's just too many people trying to get in, and who aren't experts, right? But now I digress. So I'm ending on about 20 minutes here, but I'll probably finish up on that. But again, I just wanted to bring up that I'm on my third year. And this is something I really wanted to mark an occasion to do a live, and this is it. And I wanted to part with some advice. Again, if you have any questions, call me, and I really mean this. 213-700-8812. 213-700-8812. I know there's people out there who don't, who are like, I don't know the next step, or Yousaf, when you say expert, how do I become an expert? Call me. And really the answer there is to get Meta Blueprint certified. And it's shocking how many times I say that and no one follows that. And and then I always hear, well, I want to be a Google buyer. Yeah, I know that. But the Meta Blueprint's so hard, it'll make you a better buyer overall. Like, that's the point. Because anybody who knows Google Ads, when you do the certification, it's too easy. So and I'm still certified, by the way. It's only good for 2 years, but I renew it every 2 years. But I think that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. We'll try and do these more often. But I really appreciate you joining. And if you have any questions, please call me or reach out to me. Thank you.